What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel Nwadei MMA, where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly, ask for you guys' thoughts, because you guys are the MMA community. And I know I'm a little bit late on this, but I'm gonna be recapping UFC 306, no UFC, whatever you want to call it, at the Sphere in Las Vegas. If you haven't already seen my recap on the Will vs. the Way MMA podcast, we did that a couple of days ago. I know I made a post about it or whatever in the community, but I'm gonna be taking a different angle today, because whether you believe it or not, there are many ways that Sean O'Malley losing to Merab Dvalishvili was actually good for the UFC. And in this video, I am gonna talk about how and why. But first and foremost, before we get into that, if you guys want to support the channel and help me to continue making videos, please give this video a thumbs up. It takes about a millisecond of your time, of course only if you like the video, and leave your thoughts down below as you watch along the video. And you're more than welcome to subscribe to join the Nwadei MMA family. Soon we're going to be having memberships. I'm going to be breaking down the style of Merab Dvalishvili, his system, if you want to call it that, of the machine, just like I did Dricus du Plessis a couple weeks back. I know you guys really liked that video and want more educational content like that, so I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of access to that. And if it won't be free, it'll be for what is seemingly pennies, because I'm broke as an MMA fighter. Oh, and speaking of being an MMA fighter, in a couple of weeks I'm going to be taking on one of the best grapplers in the state of Texas. Yes, I think you see the poster right up there. Zane win in a grappling match on September 22nd. So if you guys want to watch that, you could buy the pay-per-view on clearlifemedia.com to see how that one plays out. And then 2 weeks after, I'm gonna be making my return to the Fury UFC Octagon in the cage. So stay tuned for a whole bunch of fight content. And lastly but not least, if you want to support me, then go check out the Will vs. the Way, because along with the UFC 306 reaction, we also interviewed the viral sensation MMA fighter in The Problem Child, Varela, and his story was pretty wild, and I think you would take a lot from it. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so I know what you guys are thinking. How the hell is the UFC's golden boy, Sean O'Malley, losing good for the UFC? They carried him to the top. They gave him Aljo on a platter, and they clearly wanted him to win because he was one of the biggest superstars in the UFC, and even after his loss, still is. Well, this opens up the division more than it was already open. Now, we know for the longest time, the bantamweight division has been the best division in the UFC, as we have debated on this channel, but there was a couple of things stopping the movement at the top. One was Sean O'Malley fighting Chito Vera, because Chito Vera did not deserve that title shot, right? And two was a couple of the contenders just not being very exciting when it comes to outside of the octagon, or even inside the octagon with Merab Dvalishvili, and outside the octagon with Corey Sandhagen, Umar Nurmagomedov, the list goes on. However, Merab might have just saved the bantamweight division from potential matchups that we may never have gotten to see. And the first way he did that was by beating Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's next fight isn't going to be against Umar Nurmagomedov or Ilia Topuria or Max Holloway or Gervonta Davis like he was trying to do. Instead, he's going to have to fight someone else in the bantamweight division who's not the champion. I mean, who wouldn't want to see a rematch with Peter Yan for 5 rounds? I mean, that was an insane war. Multiple people thought he lost that fight. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. Peter Yan's asking for it. Sean's probably not asking for it because that was a war, like I said. But who wouldn't want to see that fight and pay money for that fight? Another fight we also may have never gotten to see was Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen, who is also calling for that fight. I mean, Corey Sandhagen fucked up all of his opportunities when he accepted the fight against Umar Nurmagomedov instead of just waiting for a title shot, which he should have had instead of Chito Vera. I think we all know that and agree with that. But like I just said, he messed up his chances by losing to Umar Nurmagomedov, the dark horse in the division, and it was looking like he was going to have to go on another streak in order to get a crack at Sean O'Malley, who was already looking ahead at the featherweight division and boxing, right? So what Merab beating Sean O'Malley did, first of all, was slow down Sean O'Malley's progress in trying to get out of the division, and created fun matchups like Sean O'Malley versus Yan or Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen. I mean, that is a fun fight two of the best strikers, two strikers who like to keep the distance but are also very explosive when they get in range. It'll be an amazing puzzle to watch get solved, and they're both fighting styles that they've never really gone up against before. Now, a couple things we have to realize is that Sean O'Malley has already announced that he's going to need surgery on his hip, I believe, or a labrum, something like that.
Just a couple quick ones from me. O'Malley announces today he's having hip surgery, and I don't understand how these guys fight with he has a torn labrum, and then 2 days later they're having surgery. I mean, isn't there a process in place?
One of those two things, and that he's going to be out for like 7 to 9 months, right? Damn near a year. So we're not going to see him for a while. I don't know if we're going to get that Corey Sandhagen fight or that Yan fight, because I don't know how long they're willing to wait. Corey Sandhagen and Peter Yan. We might be able to make that fight too. And then the winner fights Sean O'Malley. Damn. Hey, shout out Noah for being a UFC matchmaker, huh? Look how easy that was. But where does Deiveson Figueiredo play into this? Because he is coming off of 3 straight wins. He is ranked, what? Let me check this real quick. The 5th, he's ranked number 5 in the division, coming off of Rob Font, Cody Garbrandt, and Chito Vera wins. Very good wins. I thought that's 3 wins in the top 10 or top 5 of the division. I felt like, man, maybe he was more deserving than Umar Nurmagomedov for a title shot, just based off of work in the division and being a former champion. And being 36, I mean, how much longer does he have, right? Do you really want him waiting? And not only that, but Merab Dvalishvili is saying that he wants Figueiredo over Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, let's talk about that for a second, because I'm really getting the stench. I mean, it stinks. I'm getting the stench that Merab is scared of Umar Nurmagomedov. Am I the only one feeling that? I mean, every time Merab Dvalishvili is asked about Umar Nurmagomedov, he either tries to play it off like he doesn't know who Nurmagomedov is, one of the most famous last names when you're talking about anything nowadays, or he tries to say that Umar is undeserving, which I kind of agree with if we're talking about Deiveson Figueiredo as the other contender. But he also beat Corey fucking Sandhagen in a dominant fashion, so you can't really deny him, right? So I think that Umar versus Merab should be next if Merab will cooperate. However, Merab saying if he fights Umar, he's not gonna promote it, or he has nothing to say. If he fights Deiveson Figueiredo, that he has a lot to say. He's really trying to incentivize the UFC not to make the Umar fight. Probably because it's a bad matchup, and I agree that it is. I think if Umar and Merab fight, Umar will be champion. I think he just has better striking. Wrestling is probably even, or even better. His grappling is better. Not a good fight for Merab, which is why he probably doesn't want it. He just got the belt, right? But usually when champions just get the belt, they don't get to make those decisions. They have to fight who the UFC wants them to fight. And Umar, just based off of his last name, could be a star in the UFC. Now, back to the point of this video. Another reason why this is great for the division is because Merab Dvalishvili, nobody would know who he is if he didn't fight Sean O'Malley. Sure, he beat Henry Cejudo and other former champions, and he is a great fighter. And he makes skits, he's funny, and whatnot. But his fighting style is so goddamn boring. I mean, purists like me can enjoy it. I enjoyed the Sean fight. I enjoyed the fight with Henry Cejudo. I did not enjoy his fight with Jose Aldo. That was boring as hell. And he just can't get away from a decision other than his fight with like Marlon Moraes. And in saying that, he gained over 500,000 followers between the time that he fought Henry Cejudo and Sean O'Malley, which means that before fighting Sean O'Malley and beating Sean O'Malley, there's 2 different Merab Dvalishvilis. Now you have a champion Merab, which is much more popular. Everybody knows about him now, and the division is still exciting, which if he fights Umar and Umar goes ahead and beats him, that's another name, star power, and accomplishment under Umar's belt, along with the belt. Now I know we're doing MMA math right now, and we're kind of figuring this thing out together because anything can happen in this division until some of these fights are already made. But no matter who fights who, I think Umar being at the top of the division is good for the UFC because they have the Dagestani who nobody wants to fight. If he has the belt, they have to fight him. And so we're going to see Umar fight a lot more often. Good for the bantamweight division. We're going to see Sean O'Malley's teammates, Mario Batista and Kyler Phillips, actually be able to make that crack at the belt or run for the title, because they're both on great streaks and haven't really been pushing themselves too much, because Sean O'Malley, their teammate, was the champion. Not saying they wouldn't have fought each other. I think they might have, because Sean still does his own thing with like Tim Welch and shit, but you see what I mean there. So, like I said, unpopular opinion or not, Merab beating Sean O'Malley was good for the UFC. Merab's more popular. The rest of the contenders can become more popular. We're going to get exciting fights out of Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan, and Corey Sandhagen. And then another thing for the UFC that this helps with is that you're not going to have to pay Sean O'Malley pay-per-view points or anything. You're making a lot more money off of his name than you would of him being champion. God damn it, I hate exploiting these fighters, but it's the truth. Right? So all in all, what do you think about the bantamweight division now that Merab is champion? Guys, we're entering the age of wrestling and the wrestlers and the grapplers and whatnot. I mean, Bilal's champion, Merab's champion, Islam's champion, Pantoja's champion, Dricus is champion. He started off as a grappler. And even John Jones is champion, obviously a grappler as well. So, like I said, the grapplers are back. The fun, striking guys like Alex Pereira and Sean O'Malley are gone. Although Alex Pereira is still there. He's still that unicorn, given the fact that he doesn't fight John Jones, Tom Aspinall, or Magomed Ankalaev. So what do you make of the new UFC as we know it today? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, subscribing, and supporting me on the content. Let me know what other styles you would want me to break down, similar to how I broke down Dricus. And I'll give you guys a date soon on when those membership opportunities are going to be popping up, which will probably be after my competitions and fights. So let me know, comment down below, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.